The Rise of Skywalker is said to introduce elements to the Star Wars franchise that fans have never seen before on the big screen in Star Wars film history. This is Mike Zero. If you guys are new to the channel, do make sure to subscribe to see future Star Wars content. Now, one aspect of Episode 9 that a lot of people are very curious about is, of course, how much Legends material is going to really carry on over into this story. Now, we do know that JJ and Chris Terrio have a big plan in place, and that is, of course, to use as much Legends material as possible in order to throw that into The Rise of Skywalker and tell a very unique and original story. Now, in case you guys did not know, ever since Disney took over Lucasfilm, I believe it was back in 2012, they took over Legends. All the Legends books, the comics, whatever have you, are not a part of the official canon. Now, what's really intriguing is that these past couple of weeks or so, we've been learning a whole lot more about this film, and when it all comes down to one of the concept art descriptions, this is where things begin to get very exciting for this movie. Now, specifically, a description of Kylo Ren and Rey holding hands during one of their Force bonds, where it's described that Rey appears to be scared and Kylo appears to be brave, as they are said to be entering darkness where they begin to hear the voices of the past of many of the fan-favorite characters such as Luke, Anakin, Obi-Wan, and more. It's said that Kylo and Rey are looking around as the environment around them begins to change, to where they begin to hear and see scrambled visions of events that took place during the prequels and the originals, one of which is said to be a glimpse of Luke and Vader fighting during Return of the Jedi, where new angles of the fight are seen. It's said that both Rey and Kylo are in Palpatine's throne room, watching Luke Skywalker strike down his father Darth Vader, where as Rey and Kylo turn their heads to the right, the environment changes to another moment of the past, in which Kylo and Rey witness Luke Skywalker standing in front of Darth Vader's funeral on Endor, where Kylo and Rey are standing behind Luke Skywalker. The next describes Kylo and Rey now hearing the laughter of Emperor Palpatine as they look down and the floor morphs to the moment of Palpatine's death when he was thrown down the shaft of the Death Star 2 by Vader. It's described to be the Disney version of flow walking, where Kylo Ren and Rey are seeking the true answers of the past. So let's go over a couple of parts about this. Now, as I stated in the very beginning of this video, there are going to be a lot of Legends material in this movie. It's all a matter of how accurate it's really going to be by Disney. Now, already we do know that Disney and Lucasfilm are using tons of Legends material in order to tell a big plot point of the story, and that all has to do with Palpatine. Now, this particular piece has all to do with a Legends power called flow walking, where essentially Jason Solo, who was basically the Kylo Ren of the expanded universe, was able to use this technique in order to discover truths about the past. And now that Kylo Ren, who is the canon version of Jason Solo, he's the son of both Han and Leia, this is basically the same exact thing, except Disney and Lucasfilm are using it in a different way, I guess. I'm not quite sure how I feel about it, where they're using the flow walking technique that is initiated by Kylo Ren, where he has to hold Rey's hand and brings her on this journey through flow walking, where he is showing her truths, alright? Big truths about the past of course, Luke, Vader, Palpatine, all these different characters of the past Star Wars movies that take place before the events of the sequel trilogy. So this also falls directly in line with one of the scenes that were reshot a couple of months ago that we went over, how they actually redid the entire sequence of Luke Skywalker taking down Darth Vader in Emperor Palpatine's throne room, where different actors were portraying, of course, young Luke Skywalker and Darth Vader, where both Adam Driver and Rey were on set, watching the two fight in a lightsaber duel. Now, that most likely applies to what's being described here for this particular sequence, in which we have Rey and Kylo Ren flow walking to that specific moment in time. Now, unlike the flash fights, which, by the way, seem to be more around the lines of simulations, if you will, of certain environments and/or worlds of the Star Wars franchise, this is the moment in which Rey and Kylo are actually witnessing actual events that took place in the past, actual characters being displayed on the big screen in front of their very own eyes. So what I like about this is that this is really digging, into Legends and bringing it to life in a Star Wars movie on film, on the big screen for a lot of hardcore fans around the world. I think that the minute we get to see this, a lot of fans are going to realize exactly what it is. A lot of hardcore fans. If you're a hardcore fan, you know what flow walking is, you know who Jason Solo is, you know a lot about Legends, all that stuff, right? And I think the fact that JJ is using a lot of Legends material, I'm only crossing my fingers that it stays as true as possible to how it was interpreted in, of course, the 1990s into the early 2000s, and how everything was used back then before Disney took over Lucasfilm in the early 2010s, right? In early, 2012. And what I like about this, though, is that it basically brings Star Wars to a different medium, right, when it comes to Force powers. And that's something that a lot of people always want to see. Anyways, guys, drop a comment below. Let me know what you think about all this in the comments. And if you guys did enjoy the content for today, do make sure to drop a thumbs up on this video to support the channel. I thank you all so very much for the kind support, and I'll catch you guys next time.
Night to moon, we hear them moans again. No.